All right, I'm back with another rookie mistakes video today, but first off, I'd like to thank all of the patrons. Really appreciate you guys and your support. Just today, I made our October Q&A answer video, as well as a video showing my regular stretching routine. I'm also doing one-on-one video lessons with guys. So if that's something that you're interested in, I've linked to the Patreon video, to the Patreon group below, and consider joining. There's different tiers, you know, depending on how much you want to spend, how much help you need. So today's rookie mistake is a really interesting one because the inspiration for this one stems from a video that I posted recently, and it was a short one about tray flipping for height, and I have another one about kick flips on the way, so stay tuned. But in this video, I talked about how when I squat, I aim to pop immediately, right? And there's always a few people that want to come in to correct me after they hear me say that, and they're missing the point. And there's a reason that they're missing the point, because they have a lack of experience, right? So I always aim to pop as soon as I've squatted. Now, aiming to and actually accomplishing this are two different things, right? And there's a very common thing that I see with people that are beginners, and maybe some people that are even decent. Like one of the guys who mentioned this on Instagram, I went and watched one of his videos, and I watched one of his crooked grinds, and I could see it was a decent crooked grind, but his legs were completely overextended by the time he got into the crooked grind. So if he had wanted to flip out of that crooked grind or do anything like that, he wouldn't have had a chance. And the reason for that was, in his comment, he said that he squats and then waits a little bit before he pops. And there's a reason this creates a problem. If you do it my way, if you squat and you aim to pop or scoop or do whatever the trick you're attempting requires, if you attempt to do that as soon as you squat, you're not going to accomplish this, because there is a delay between the time that you say you're going to do something and your body actually reacts to you and does it. That's why I aim to pop as soon as I've squatted, and it rarely ever happens because it's not an instantaneous result. So by aiming for popping as soon as I've squatted down, I'm going to pop just after I've started to rise, and it pretty much never fails. Now, there are times when I do want to pop as soon as I've squatted. For instance, if I'm trying to do a grind on a little curb or a little tiny ledge, I don't want to over pop, and so I have to pop lower. I have to pop as soon as I've squatted. And so in these cases, I try not to squat as far down, for one, and I try to slow down my pop. But this is a big rookie mistake that I noticed with some people, beginners and even like intermediate skaters, is you pop way too late. And a lot of the times when people are trying to pop higher, they pop way too late, and it comes from having it in your head that you have to wait to pop after you've started to rise. And then what happens is, since there's a little bit of a delay after you squat, I'm gonna stand up and demonstrate here. So if I'm telling myself to pop as soon as I've squatted down, I come down, I say pop, I'm popping there. But if I tell myself that I'm gonna pop later, what happens is I squat, I tell myself to pop here, I pop when I'm there. So my legs are already fully extended by the time I pop, which means I'm not gonna get any height. I don't have any more room to control the board. And when you're trying to do things like a kickflip, a higher kickflip, a higher tray flip, right? It's almost like doing multiple tricks, especially in the case of the kickflip. Because when I go for a kickflip for height, I'm thinking of two different tricks really. At first, I'm thinking of the ollie and doing the most solid ollie that I can do. And then only as my foot reaches the tip of the nose do I flick out for the kickflip motion. So you're not gonna be able to accomplish this if your legs are already nearly straight by the time you pop. And this is a big rookie mistake, and even an intermediate skater mistake, I should say, because a lot of rookies, even although they do commit this mistake, they don't commit it as frequently because they're not trying for pop as much. But right in that intermediate category, or I guess you'd still call these beginners, because it's like people who can kickflip, who can heel flip, might be able to do like tray flips, but they don't have the experience with doing them high. And even with ollies and people trying to skate higher obstacles, a lot of times what happens is they're going for height. They think that all they need for height is a deeper, a harder explosion. And what happens is they focus so much on the explosion and they tell themselves to pop late. And so by the time they pop, their legs are too straight for them to be able to get any real type of pop out of that motion. And this is a mistake that I see all of the time. So I'm going to film some examples of how I accomplish height here. And I'm going to just film some skating in the park, you know, get some clips in there so that you guys can see just kind of the way that you want to accomplish popping, and so that you don't create this mistake of popping too late. And if you have it in your head that you should be popping and you should be waiting until you're already standing up, you're gonna pop too late, because it takes time for you to for your body to actually do what you tell it to do. That's why when we skate stairs, we don't tell ourselves to pop right at the edge of the stair, because when you do that, you're gonna miss it pretty much every time. If you've watched my videos on stairs, I always say that you pop a foot to 18 inches in front of those stairs, depending on how fast you're going, depending on where you are in your skating, because earlier on in your skating, you're gonna react even slower because you're not as strong and you're not as conditioned to the movements that you have to commit. So let's get into some examples. So hopefully those will help. I tried to get everything in frame, shooting myself today, also shooting on my phone using the Apple ProRes log into a SanDisk Extreme Drive, which is pretty cool, being able to shoot 4K 60 log and not bring out my entire camera when I don't have the time. But yeah, like a lot of you guys are just waiting entirely too long to pop. There's a middle ground, but even with like the nollie heel flip, I stay relatively more tucked on that trick than other tricks. Every trick requires something different. And that's what my level series was about, which I could have entered this into, but I think it's more of a rookie mistake. And the fact that I see a lot of people trying to correct me for it online, and then, you know, I'm pretty thorough. So I go to look at their skating and it's pretty evident why they don't understand the concept of attempting to pop when you're at your lowest point, because you're not going to pop there. It's just like you trying to pop, you telling yourself to pop a foot before the edge of the stairs. When you try that, you're usually gonna pop a couple inches from the edge of the stairs. It's the way that any physical movements from human beings work. There's a little bit of a delay, and skateboarding tricks happen really fast. So you have to set your sights just before when you're actually aiming to pop. This works for me. It's worked for me for a very long time. If you don't think it works, try your own way and have fun with that. Feel free, but I'm gonna keep sharing what works for me and what has worked for me with beginners. So thank you guys for watching. Enjoy skateboarding.